But we are grieving. The families are grieving, our city is grieving, and our state is grieving.
Today on Upfront, the brewery shooting rampage. An employee killed 5 coworkers at Milwaukee's Molson Coors complex before eventually killing himself.
Got to pray for these guys' families. It's not something you want to go through.
Next, workplace violence. How worried should we be? And can companies and workers really be ready? Plus, judge versus justice. Do you think the Supreme Court is corrupt? State Supreme Court candidate Jill Karofsky on why her ads allege corruption at the court.
Taking on the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Upfront with your host, Adrian Pedersen.
We're a family here at Molson Coors in Milwaukee, and this is an unthinkable tragedy for us.
Husbands, fathers, friends. That's how Molson Coors CEO remembered the 5 men killed in a shooting rampage. Thank you for joining us today. The community is still reeling after a man opened fire on his coworkers at Miller Brewing, a landmark in Milwaukee for 165 years. The victims range in age from 33 to 61 years old and come from communities all over the metro area. The shootings Wednesday locked down the Miller campus and nearby schools and businesses. Brewery employees hid, not knowing what was happening.
We were very quiet sitting in that office, you know, like a little mouse, you know. We didn't want to come out and show ourselves because we don't know.
This type of workplace violence has happened all too often in the United States. So what can companies and workers do to protect themselves? We're talking about it and asking Mike Cummings, the president of Cummings Security Consultants in Milwaukee. Thank you for your expertise on this really important topic.
Thank you for having me.
So I think we have to start with how concerned should we all be about these workplace shootings?
Well, I think ever since Columbine, we unfortunately have seen a significant escalation in these types of cases. From an individual workplace at any given day, very low likelihood it's going to happen, but it's a low likelihood, high impact type of situation which we all need to be prepared for.
Can you really prevent them?
I don't think there's a silver bullet for it. Security, as I oftentimes say, is not an exact science. But if we follow basic security protocols, have good processes, and a good awareness, I believe that a vast majority of them can be prevented. Unfortunately, we never know what we prevent.
How can it be prevented then?
I think that it starts with the employer. If we're talking about workplace violence, the employer, there's a number of tools out there that can be accessed. There are standards that have been written on workplace violence prevention that are accessible. Basic activities that the employer needs to do is, first of all, establish their policy on workplace violence, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, establish practices to have it reported, establish practices and usually something in the form of a multidisciplinary threat assessment team to deal with it once it's reported to help mitigate the potential for it actually occurring.
So many of us don't necessarily know what's going on at the top of our companies and the planning that's happening. So how prepared would you say, in your experience, companies here in Wisconsin are for this type of thing?
I think there's a wide range. I think there are some companies, mostly the large companies, that have either the resources or the understanding that this could happen, and they take many reasonable precautions.
And Miller is a huge company.
Miller is a huge company, and I would imagine that they had very good processes in place. Gets to the point that security is not an exact science and things can still go wrong. It's important to have the education and training to the employees about what they need to look for and what they need to report and how they need to report it. To borrow from current situation in the national scene, see something, say something. Employees have to know what's not right, because oftentimes they'll feel that, they'll see it, they'll sense it, and then have a mechanism, oftentimes multi-channel, multi-opportunity, to bring it to somebody's attention. So it might be the security person, it might be human resources, their supervisor, or a designated senior leader, to have options that they're going to feel comfortable being able to report what they see, so then the action can be taken by the company that hopefully has those practices and processes in place.
If the worst does happen, yes, employees have just seconds to act. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Well, I think what we learned from Columbine and shortly thereafter is I think we have to keep the education on that relatively simple. There's been a national acceptance, if you will, of the concept of run, hide, fight. What happens is employees are inundated with training in their specific organizations on all sorts of things, how they do their job and things like this. And I think that if they've had training, even if it was 6 months ago or almost a year ago, on some basic, simple premises, they can remember that. They can remember that they run and escape if they can from the area. If it's not safe to do that, they shelter and hide in place. And if the worst happens and they're confronted and there's no other options, that they fight. So those simple concepts, if trained once, can oftentimes come back to the employee and make them be successful in saving themselves.
How often do employers need to be drilling this into their employees' heads?
I don't think that the training necessarily has to be more than potentially annually, where they go through some either in-person or maybe an electronic learning module opportunity. I think what needs to have a regular cadence to it, however, is the reminder to employees of here's how you report it, here's the things you should look for, and empower them to be able to do that, because they are the eyes and ears. What they see on a day-to-day basis may not get picked up by a supervisor or security or human resources for months. So they have that opportunity. They have to feel comfortable, empowered, and that they can do it in a manner that is private, so they're not going to be called out on it.
Okay. Mike Cummings, our security expert today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Police say the shooter was Anthony Farrell. He was 51 years old and had worked as an electrician at Miller for nearly 17 years. People who knew him say they were shocked at his involvement. Governor Evers ordered flags to fly at half staff for the victims. Other elected leaders weighed in, including the president and the candidates who hope to defeat him in November. Matt Smith joining us now. We know every time there's a tragedy like this, it has political implications. What are you already seeing?
It sure does. So first things first, we don't know a lot about what happened, right? But that does not stop politicians from talking about the event. The president came out the night, said thoughts and prayers, right? And talked about what he knew from the administration level. Mike Bloomberg, Democratic presidential candidate, you'll talk more about him in a minute. He was on a CNN town hall and blasted the president basically for saying that and saying what he needs to do is come out and immediately talk about more expanded background checks without knowing what's going on. He then went on Twitter the following day. Gun control is a big part of his campaign, so we're going to see the candidates use this on both sides as the conversation continues.
And I'm sure the candidates will be here before April 7th, the presidential preference primary, and they'll surely talk about this,
They
right?
sure will. A lot of focus now on Super Tuesday, but after that, once we get to Wisconsin, it's going to be interesting to see how this comes into the debate.
Okay, Matt, thank you.
Yep.
Coming up, the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. I'll talk with the candidate who hopes to pull an upset, Dane County Judge Jill Karofsky. That's next.